We appear to be a country of contradictions. While countries like Saudi Arabia, Angola, and other oil-producing nations are making huge oil revenues this year, Nigeria is nowhere to be found. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, is lamenting that the effect of the current high oil price for Nigeria, one time Africa's biggest oil producer, is zero. The international oil community is alarmed that Nigeria is missing out on the rare global oil boom opportunity. So, who should we blame but ourselves? Bikyo.
I think, just as I said earlier, our problems are man-made. I never believed that we could get to a situation this bad. In the past, whether it was the first Gulf War or the second Gulf War, we had oil boom. We jubilated because we were able to make more money during that period. Now, since Russia started the senseless war in Ukraine, all the major oil producers have been making so much money. Saudi Aramco announced that in the last quarter, they made $48 billion profit. That's Saudi Aramco alone. The major oil producers from the Middle East and Central Asia, they are projected to make a profit in excess of $320 billion this year alone. But in our own case, we are recording losses. From being Africa's biggest oil producer, we have slipped to number 3. I was reading the script, I saw Nigeria, Africa's biggest. Oh, that was in the past. We are no longer Africa's biggest. We've been overtaken by Angola and Libya. Libya, a war-torn country, has overtaken Nigeria in terms of oil production. OPEC gave us a quota that we are unable to meet. We are producing now 1.13 barrels per day, which is the lowest in 50 years. So
we're doing 800.
This disaster, consistently for the month of August, that was what we produced, and is the highest, is the lowest in 50 years. Because I remember, even during the David West days, when they increased our quota, we were able to do 2.2. Yeah. Even when we resolved the problem in the Niger Delta with amnesty and all that, we were able to do in excess of 2 million barrels a day. We are now doing 1.13. So we are unable to make money. Others are making money. Yes, the war is costing, in fact, the huge problems that we face in our country in terms of high diesel costs, high cost of Jet A1, that's aviation fuel, high cost of kerosene, is precipitated by that war in Ukraine because Russia is the highest producer of diesel. All these things have gone up in the international market. The refineries are not working. So unlike Saudi that has refineries dedicated to export of refined oil, we don't have. We don't even have for our, for our local market here in Nigeria. So we are in trouble as a nation. Despite the fact that we are unable to produce enough, we now find ourselves in a situation whereby even what we make, NNPC goes ahead to pay subsidy from the little that we are making, which is putting so much pressure on our currency. Go and check. Angola's currency has suddenly become so strong against the dollar. Yes. Why? Because they are doing well. They are making money. So this is where we find ourselves. If people can continue to steal up to 400,000 barrels a day. I don't know. I just don't understand. So how are we going to make money?
It's very simple. Yeah. It's because we have, the problem has to do with government. For 7.5 years, the Minister of Petroleum Products is the president. So the buck stops on his table. With all respect to the president, he has not been competent enough to run that ministry. And instead of him to have given it to somebody who is competent, because all the problems that we have to do with government. First, we have 3 refineries. People have been collecting salaries in those refineries for
doing nothing.
For so long, for doing nothing. Not only that, they now did another scam. They will say they are doing turnaround maintenance of $250 million. To do turnaround maintenance in all these places that are not functioning. No single drop of petroleum products. It's only Port Harcourt that they are saying will come back on stream in December. But for so many years, people were collecting salaries. We have a Minister of Petroleum Products who does not feel scandalized that he's paying people and they are not refining anything. They are not doing anything. And they didn't say anything to do that. And Dangote has been able to show to us that you can start a project. His own refinery is the biggest in the world. That you can start a refinery and finish it within a space of time. For 7.5 years that this government has been there, they will not be able to do any refinery. The one that they have, they will not be able to repair it. So there's no way you will not have problem. That's number one. Number two, the people in NNPC have turned themselves into a cabal. And the president does not have the will. If they know what the problem is, they are just deceiving themselves. They know where the problem is. It's the people in NNPC that are doing all this. And when you know that the head is weak and you can do anything and get away with it, people will do it. And when they start doing it and they see that they can get away with it, they start doing it more. They get so excited that anything is possible. You understand? So the kind of
I think you even saw what the customs, Controller General saying about
the kind of things that's happening in our oil sector. It's not only embarrassing to this country. Even OPEC members are embarrassed for us. To say, how can you say that you cannot even now everybody is making money? How can you say you are not making money? Because everybody is making money. Only Nigeria is not making money. And then government will come out and say, oh, they are stealing, oh, they stole so much. Who is stealing this thing?
We need to identify the people stealing. It's as simple as that.
If they have the will to say, we want to stop these people stealing this, they will do it. They know those who are stealing it. When you want to steal fuel, when you want to steal crude, it's not for petty thieves. It's for those who can afford to hire tankers. It's for people that will know, people that will be in the NNPC and give them clearance. They will give them clearance to be able to load. So it will look as if they are loading officially, but it is stolen crude. So that means top people in NNPC were the ones that will give that clearance. Now people said, oh, we will see a lot of people on ISIS and they will say, oh, we loaded at the official point. So this government does not care what happens to the country. If they want to throw the country under the bus, good for them. But they know, because they know that for them to solve major part of their problem, they have to stop this crude oil theft. And they can do it if they just have the will to do that. Because crude oil theft is not something you cannot see. Even from using drones alone, you will see those who are stealing your crude. Because you have to use big tankers to do it, and it's not something you can hide. So when government tells us that they steal crude, we will ask them, what is your job as government if some people can just come and steal your crude?
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So joining us via Zoom for more insight on this issue is an economist and CEO of Managing Director of Taurus Capital, Nemeka Obiarere. All right, my producer says our guest is not ready. So, BKO, experts have called for significant alternative sources of foreign exchange, and we should start exporting more than we import.
Yes, but are we really a producing country? We are just a consumer nation. The appetite of the average Nigerian is for foreign goods. Even foreign toothpicks, you want to bring everything. So how do you earn foreign exchange? Petrol or crude oil had always been our #1 earner. But when you can't earn enough because of all kinds of problems, including divestment from oil production by oil majors. Some oil majors are leaving our country. As a result of that, we cannot produce as much as we would normally want to produce. Secondly, we are battling with the issue of oil theft. So you can't sell enough to make money. That's why I gave the example of Angola. Our currency will continue to be weak against the dollar because we are not exporting enough, whether it is crude oil or agri-products or other things. We are just not doing enough. But it makes sense to encourage our people to appreciate what is Nigerian. For example, if a Nigerian can do good shoes, and there are many young Nigerians who can do good shoes these days, patronize them. The habit of patronizing everything foreign wines, champagne, and the rest of them, they are not doing us any good. We should realize now, we should begin to adopt a frugal approach. And even people in government too. That's the only way we can help ourselves. That's the only way. We should focus on production and export.
All right. George from Ikeja, hello and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Babajide, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, I find it very difficult to believe that quantity of oil, 400,000 barrels, can be stolen every day. I find it very, very difficult to believe. And I'm also, the government is mute about it because they themselves don't know how to even defend it. But one question I want to ask you, sir. This contract that was given to Tampolo, that to survey or to protect the oil pipe, do you think it can work? Do you think it can address a situation where shiploads that are seen by people are carried away? Do you think Tampolo, with that billions of money they are giving to him, can he prevent it? Thank you.
Well, one thing I know is that amongst all the militants, Tampolo has the capacity that others don't have. And he demonstrated that when, before the amnesty agreement was signed, he breached Nigeria's oil installations deep in the high seas. It was a massive shock to the people in government at that time that militants could get that far into the high seas. So he definitely has the capacity, if you understand how things run in that place. He has the capacity, no doubt about it, and he has proven that over time. He understands the area very well. But people's argument is, why do we have the Navy? Why do we have security agencies? Why do we spend so much money on security? If the security of our country then has to be outsourced to individuals, and it's a lot of money that we are talking about. I will not say at this point that he cannot deliver. I think that the people in this whole racket know themselves very well. I am convinced that he may be able to bring down the level of sabotage as well as the level of stealing of crude oil, because he has the boys, and I think he also even has the equipment. I've been told that in the past, even when some pipelines were breached, he will be the one to say, okay, why don't you give the contract for repair of that pipeline to so person, this and that, and a promise will be made that they won't go back to breach that particular pipeline. There are certain things that we cannot say on TV, things that are difficult to substantiate, but the way the militancy runs in that whole area, Tompolo is clearly the leader of those militants. In fact, when you talk about MEND, Tompolo typifies MEND. And that was why, at that time, when they said that MEND bombed, MEND carried out the October 1 bombing, President Jonathan felt since MEND was with him, it couldn't have been MEND. It turned out to be something that Henry Oka and his people carried out, not the mainstream MEND, because Tompolo is the poster boy for the real MEND, which has the capacity. And in no time, they were able to expose the people who carried out that October 1 bombing. So it is possible that Tompolo will be able to bring down the rate of theft, because he will know that, look, I've been given this mandate and they expect me to deliver. I can't watch the people do it. You know, I need to restrain the people. They will know them. That's their area. You understand? But whether it makes sense for us to have security agencies, we have the Navy. A lot of these installations are on the ICs on our territorial waters. Yet we have to go and give money to a non-state actor. There is a moral problem about that, and I don't blame Nigerians who are complaining.
In my own case, I can understand why people complain. But you see, the situation that we are in, we don't have a choice. Because the Nigerian Navy are proving that they are incompetent to protect our territorial waters. If they are doing what they are supposed to do, we won't have the kind of crude oil theft that we're having right now. Okay. So if it is to give it to Tompolo, who definitely has the capacity to do that, because you see, those who are stealing this oil, they know them, they know themselves. Who is best placed to give it to than a Tompolo who has the capacity, who knows the thieves, who also know the boys that will sabotage the pipeline.
All right.
If we need to give it to them, let's call the thieves to protect what we ask them not to steal.
All right, gentlemen.
That's the best way to go.